It's beer o'clock on Reload Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Northern Monk Brewing Company and Vague and Slim Pickings. It's a can of their Patrons Project 8.05. It's a raspberry and honeydew melon Kolsch style ale, coming in at 5.5% ABV. It sounds great. Sounds great. I'm a big fan of the Patrons Project beers. I really am. They're a great style of beer. They're very different. It's not just about IPAs. They brewed an amazing Kentuckyshire stout that I've tried and I'm about to release on the channel. If you've seen it already, then you're watching this video months or maybe even years down the line. Let's get this can out into a glass and see what we get. I picked this up from my local brewdog in Cardiff. Look at the colour. Immediately look at the colour of this beer. It's just... got a nice look to it. We got a 3-finger, quite a tight looking head. Good levels of carbonation, slightly hazy beer. It's quite clear at the bottom. The more I've poured the beer, it's almost like you can reverse time. The more I pull the glass down, look and see that haze. That's the latest bit of the beer. That's the first part of the pour down the bottom. Let's get this aroma on this hazy golden amber style beer. So Kolsch is a German slash, I say German first, but then the Americans have really taken to this style. Not massively, but the Americans brew quite a bit of Kolsch. If I've had a few Kolsches, they've definitely been from American breweries. I've had 1 or 2 from Germany. But it's a style that the American breweries have really adopted to, really taken to. And it's not a really overly, it's not a style which is going to overpower your senses. It's more of a drinking man's beer, a Kolsch style beer. You get the raspberry. I'm getting a touch of vanilla also. That might be the honeydew melon, giving off maybe a slight vanilla aroma. But raspberry, honeydew melon, yeah, smells good. Let's carry on. Let's get that rest of that poured in. So I'm going to say it's a subtle aroma. It's not throwing flavour at me. It's more a laid back, chilled out. Raspberry Kolsch style beer. Let's dive in. Cheers everybody. Oh, it's interesting. Oh, it's really interesting. They've gone for something here. They've gone for something slightly wacky, slightly different. Can you just bear with me for maybe 10 seconds? I just need to have a few more tastes of this beer. There's something niggling me at the back of my mind stroke palate. I just need to add these 2 things up. Yeah. There's a little bit of diacetyl in this beer. Just a small amount of diacetyl, which I'm not really that surprised of. I'm not really like jumping round, upset, angry, throwing my arms in the air. Northern Monk have been producing a lot of beer. They produce lots of beer. the blue canned, is it Eternity? The IPA, is it called? I think it's called Eternity. They produce a lot of that now for, I believe it's in Asda's, I believe it's in a few supermarkets, so they're probably at maximum capacity. They then brew this Patrons project where they change the beer styles over and over and over. I have had some wonderful styles, different beers from the Patrons project. I'm a massive fan of it. I just think maybe that they just I mean, every great brewer is, for me, can make a small mistake. They can. It will happen along the way. It's part of craft beer. It's part of what we're all involved in. We're part of people trying new things, people trying different styles, people adding raspberry to Kolsch's and whole melon hops, Hersbruck and Vic's Secret and Honeydew Melon. And on this occasion, if I'm perfectly honest, you can probably tell by now, I just don't think this beer's worked. I don't think this beer worked. But on the other hand, well done to Northern Monk for attempting something different. Let me tell you now why it hasn't worked for me. If you're watching from Northern Monk, maybe put your fingers in your ears a little bit. It's just that, first of all, for me, when you get diacetyl, when I get the diacetyl, when I taste diacetyl, it's just a little bit of butteriness. It's just a little silky butteriness that just fills your mouth with butter, basically. It's like a buttery taste. And then, yeah, then comes the butterscotch. It's only slight, it's only minuscule, it's a little bit, but my palate is very deceptive. It's very, if it sees diacetyl, if my palate finds it in there, it's gonna grab it and rip it out. I really don't like that flavour. I'm not a massive fan of it. In fact, it makes me just go a little bit. If you're new to craft beer, it could be that the beer, they stopped the yeast from finishing its work. It didn't mop up all of the residual sugars in the beer, and it's just caused a little bit of butterscotch flavour. It could be from a very small infection. It's not like cabbage water or any of the other nasty things you get when a beer gets infected. But the raspberry then and that honeydew melon flavour added to that slight bit of diacetyl, for me, it just becomes very messy. It just becomes very messy. So unfortunately for me, this beer has not worked. This is the first Northern Monk beer that I've tried, probably in Northern Monk's existence, that I've not enjoyed. But as I mentioned earlier, we are in the craft beer industry to try different things, to try different styles, to chuck raspberry and melon and all sorts of stuff at beer and see, just to see what works. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. On this occasion, it hasn't worked. So for me, this gets I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. It's a 3 out of 10 from Real Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up, boom, and cheers.